Hello and welcome to today's video. As you can see, I'm indoors today and it's just the weather outside's just not conducive to filming. And as I get started, just a couple of things have come to mind for me that I'd just like to briefly touch on. One is actually to do with the weather. It kind of relates to when I talk about my G.U.R.U symbology, the Gnostic universal realms uncovered, as I've labelled it. However, as I've explained, I've been my own guru. I'm nobody else's guru, but I have dispelled my darkness. And relating that into the weather, I'm also fortunate that I'm in a position where I can kind of escape the weather. I live in a motorhome. I can try and find the sun or find the light. So by definition, I am my own weather guru, I guess. I can move away from the weather that I do not want to be around, which may be weather that does not inspire my soul as much as being in the sun or being in the light inspires my life. I think that applies to everything in life, really. Is just talking again about dispelling your darkness. It's just, if one's in a position, whether it be a physical situation or mental situation or darkness of the soul, there's many ways to dispel the darkness, but one of the ways is to actually physically move away from it. So you move away from your darkness, your darkness is no longer surrounding you, and you can physically move to the light. So just that weather example is just a good example of what I talk about. The second part that I just thought about prior to making this video just relates to the word magic again. I use it a lot, and what I am not talking about is the conjuring of card tricks, the magic that happens from a magician on a stage magician, although they're pretty special people in general terms, I suspect. I'm talking about earth magic, and I'm talking about universal magic. And these are this is the magic that happens at the higher realms I talk about. So the card tricks, it's kind of in the lower realms. The stage magician, very entertaining. Might get us thinking a little bit about life and magic. Whether it has a huge impact going forward on our lives is up to the individual. But the earth magic and the universal magic that I talk about is the magic that, once experienced, will have a forever positive effect on the individual who has experienced it. And I am talking about me, and I'm talking about the magic I have experienced through visuals, through insights, through people I have met, through thinking about and assimilating and integrating these things into my life. And I guess, in summary, I live a magical life. And when I get on to today's subject, I'm going to bring up some examples of this magic that I've experienced. Just very short examples. There's no way, again, that I can explain what I'm really talking about in depth on a short video. But as always, I am recording these things in written form. They are in my stories if you do want to go and read about them in detail. They're on my website. So there's the main story, which is Loving the Magic story, and then there's the shorter story, which is called Return to the Light. And yes, some of the things I'm going to talk about today are definitely in that second story, I suspect. So just as I get started, I will tell you that today's topic is oneness. And I've pulled out a card from the tarot, or my chakra tarot deck, and today we have the Lovers. And that's unification. I mean, it's just a symbolic of unification. I won't read out the details, just I've got so much to talk about today. That card has also got a border of the violet colour. So this is the highest sort of realm card in terms of the chakra deck. So it's very, very important in that sense. Unification and love. I'm no expert on relationship love, but what I think I have become is somebody who has quite a good understanding from my perspective of what I will call pure love or universal love. And when I'm talking about oneness and I'm talking about union, I'm talking about love, what we're talking about is the ability to see the interconnectedness of everything. Now, we as individuals, so if we're talking the human form, we have so much more in common with each other. Everybody, the 8 billion people in this world, have so much more in common with each other than we have different. Political views, religious views, cause divide. But below those things, getting really deep into the spiritual realm or the spiritual being, we have so much commonality, and the rift or the split occurs through various things, such as those two topics that I've just spoken about, which I tend to steer clear of a little bit. And those things that cause splits and rifts are generally things that we have learnt or absorb, and they become very, very big in our being. So again, if I will use the term religion, and so the religious splits that happen in the world, and the wars that come of them, and the conflicts, and we've got one at the moment, and a lot of that's quite fundamentalist happenings. The situation is, as I would view it, and I always will have this fairly strong conviction, strong message that we all come from the light. All is light. Religions, politics, everything else is a subset of the light, and they all turned up at a much later, or use the term, time, and they draw from the light everything. And then what happens with the things that they draw from the light, darkness can also become involved. But in the light, so the eternal light, back at the eternal source or the source, there is no darkness. Darkness turned up later. So, oneness. Okay. I'm going to just talk about really briefly, as brief as I can, about the interconnectedness of everything. So we're not just talking the interconnectedness of people, but that is pretty important. But the fact that we are connected to everything. We are connected to each other. We are connected to inanimate objects. We are connected to animals. We are connected to nature and trees, the sea, crystals, everything. Now, that's the theory, but now I just want to talk about my experiences again that have proven. So we're talking the Gnosticism, the gnosis, the knowledge through experience. So I'm just going to really briefly talk about some things that happened for me in November 2025. Many things have led to my understanding of oneness, but these are very profound, real, definitive moments in my life. And November 2025, when I returned to Peru, I undertook my one Ayahuasca ceremony in the town of Pisac in the Sacred Valley. And out of that, I can give some very strong examples which I will touch on here, of the understanding of what this oneness is, in particular the oneness between individuals. So we are talking person on person here, or person on people. So during the ceremony, so I'm now getting into some things that I'm going to talk about that again may sound, and I'm going to keep using this term, woo-woo, but these experiences that when I did go through them, once one gets over the initial, I guess, shock of what one is experiencing, it's an initial shock. I mean, these are things that one does not see or hear in the usual day-to-day realm. These things are more real than anything I have ever experienced prior. First thing I'll quickly talk about is that early on in the Ayahuasca experience, a number of entities appeared before my face at the end of my mattress. I detail this in my story, but these people were effectively doctors who had come to assess me. They were assessing what I needed in order to go further on my spiritual journey. At one stage, I was effectively telling them what my ailments were, including physical, and for a long time in my life, I had experienced what I would call a nagging cough, which emanated from my left lung. So during weather, cold conditions, I would just get this cough on my left lung, and it's very annoying, and sometimes leading to sort of difficulties with talking, actually. And during the ceremony, I looked down towards the end of bed to the doctors and said to them, and we're talking really sort of through my mind, I'm saying to them, I have this problem with my left lung. And at that moment, I pointed to my left lung, and at that very second, another participant further away from me in the ceremony, who was undergoing their own ayahuasca experience, started coughing, strongly coughing. And it was as if the cough was my cough. It's just like they picked up on my cough and they coughed on my behalf. So that's one example. Another example is during the purge that occurred during that ceremony. So we're talking about the throw up, and I think I know I threw up 3 times. During those purges, it is almost as if you are not only purging on your own behalf, you are purging on behalf of others present, and in fact you're purging on behalf of everyone. Very hard just in words to describe. The experience is phenomenal. Another thing that occurred during this ceremony, which was just so deep. Later in the ceremony, so I was going through all my experiences and learnings and insights, just a whole lot of things. There were 2 ladies further to my right, so they were actually about, 5 meters away. And it was a bit difficult for me to tell whether it was one or both of them. But suddenly they started crying, and I'll say they, and it was uncontrollable crying. It was the deepest distress that I have ever experienced for myself or heard. And of course they were facing some stuff that was coming out of them. In that moment, they were my sisters. I started crying uncontrollably. I said to them telepathically, I said, my sisters, I am so sorry for what we have done in the past that has caused this distress. I was them. And I was also part of the people who had done whatever they had done that had caused this deepest distress that was now coming out of them. This is repressed distress. I said to myself, again, I'm in my head, and I had a very profound learning, which I won't go into here, which I have documented. I said to them, in my head, I cannot change the past, but what I can do is I can assist in the way that I can in this moment. And at that very moment, I looked up to the skylight, so it's nighttime, looking out to the stars, and a surge, an ongoing surge of universal energy came through the roof towards me. I reached my hands up towards it. I grabbed the energy and I threw it at them. And I said, take as much as you need. So this overflow of energy, again, that I talk about, so that the energy that I'm now talking about to you. I looked over and it was dark, but there was moonlight, and they were surrounded. They were not surrounded by the human facilitators or anybody who was attending the actual ceremony. They were surrounded by their healers. They were surrounded by angels. They were surrounded by guides, and they were all there. And at that moment, I knew that they were cared for and that I had done what I could do. So really, these are things about these sends chills down the back of my spine, talking about such things and recollecting them. So if you want to know more, it's all in my story, viviendelamahianz.com. It's totally free. I'm not here to sell my story. There's the other story. There's my videos. You're welcome to message me. You're welcome to comment on this video, or anything really. I will leave it at that, and I'll say thank you for taking some time out to listen to that brief overview of the subject today. I will see you again, and I will say enjoy the journey. We will meet when we should. Namaste.